oneworld Alliance, one of the three most important global airline alliances alongside SkyTeam and the Star Alliance, was founded on February 1, 1999. The group has grown to include 13 different member carriers at the time of making this video. The alliance's principal objective is to be the first choice for international travelers, which sounds like a fairly obvious goal for any airline or airline group. Since December 2022, oneworld has been headquartered in Fort Worth, Texas. As one would expect, Texas-based American Airlines is a key member of the organization, but relatively new Seattle-based Alaska Airlines is also a full member. This makes oneworld the only major alliance with two full US members. In addition to American and Alaska, the airline's membership consists of British Airways, Cathay Pacific, Finnair, Iberia, Japan Airlines, Malaysia Airlines, Qantas, Qatar Airways, Royal Air Maroc, Royal Jordanian, and Sri Lankan Airlines. Fiji Airways and Oman Air are both set to join the alliance in the coming months, becoming the 14th and 15th member carriers respectively. Despite the future additions, oneworld is still the smallest alliance of the big three. Why is this? Let's take a look in today's video. As of March 2020, the alliance and its member carriers collectively operated a fleet of around 3,300 aircraft, serving over 1,000 airports in 170 countries at the time. Carrying over 500 million passengers each year, the oneworld alliance operates more than 13,000 daily flights. But when it comes to its standing among alliances, oneworld remains in last place among the three major global groupings. Indeed, only about 11.9% of passengers on flights these days are traveling with a oneworld carrier. This sits slightly behind SkyTeam's market share, which is around 13.7%, and significantly behind the Star Alliance, which serves as the global market leader with around 17.4%, with all data coming from Statista. It is important to note that oneworld's smaller market share is nothing new. The organization lagged far behind its rivals even before the COVID-19 pandemic and the energy price spikes of 2022, which reshaped the air travel market. Back in 2019, the alliance's airlines carried just 490 million passengers, lagging behind SkyTeam with 676 million and the Star Alliance with 762 million. There is a quick and obvious reason why the alliance has a smaller market share than its competitors, alongside some more nuanced reasons which we'll get to shortly. At the core of why oneworld has the smallest market share is that it simply has fewer member airlines than its competitors. Even once Fiji Airways and Oman Air join, oneworld will still lag behind its key competitors in terms of member airline count, with SkyTeam having 19 active members and the Star Alliance having a massive 25. This may be due to the conditions that oneworld has set for membership, conditions that prospective airlines may not want to comply with. Every alliance has a reputation to uphold after all. But when it comes to market share, oneworld dominates in the US thanks to Alaska and American. However, in Europe, it's the Star Alliance dominating with its 9 full members, or 8 depending on whether or not you consider Turkish Airlines to be a European or Asian carrier. Oneworld, by contrast, has just 3 members in Europe, with British Airways, Iberia and Finnair maintaining full membership. As a result, the airline's market share in one of the most important global air travel markets is lacking. With most European carriers already in a major alliance, there is extremely little room for oneworld to change this, unless it can convince some carriers to change camps. With fewer member airlines, oneworld is not able to operate as many flights as its competitors or maintain as high a seat capacity, something which impacts its chances of expanding its market share. Furthermore, some of the alliance's most important members, such as American Airlines, have had weaker financial performance in recent years, equating to a decreased ability to expand their market share by launching new flights. Furthermore, oneworld also suffers from a concentration of large airlines, such as American and British Airways. Indeed, there are fewer regional and mid-size airlines feeding into the global network. In essence, the alliance needs more Alaska Airlines-type members, which have a smaller footprint but are important in feeding into the alliance's long-haul network, exposing more passengers to oneworld flights and significantly expanding potential connectivity. But another reason for oneworld's lower standing is that the alliance has been dealt some serious blows over time. More focused on domestic operations within the United States, American Airlines these days struggles with regional gaps in its global network, something which lags behind the other two alliances. As highlighted by Forbes, continuous global connectivity is essential for an airline alliance's continued growth. At the end of the day, the purpose of an alliance is to provide as effective and interconnected global system of transportation as possible, something that becomes difficult when there are no oneworld member airlines that may serve a given region. For example, oneworld has extremely weak coverage in many of the world's fastest-growing air travel markets such as Africa, Central or Eastern Europe, and, most notably, Latin America. Sure, airlines like British Airways and Qatar Airways fly to a number of large African cities. Royal Air Maroc serves quite a few West African destinations as well. However, intra-Africa flights are more likely to go to continent heavyweight Ethiopian Airlines and to a lesser extent SkyTeam's Kenya Airways. While Star Alliance member and Colombian flag carrier Avianca covers Latin America quite extensively, and SkyTeam has two Latin American member airlines, Aerolíneas Argentinas and Aeromexico, oneworld has no presence in the South American market since legacy carrier LATAM departed from the organization back in 2020. On September 26, 2019, SkyTeam member carrier Delta Airlines announced its intention to buy a 20% stake in the Latin American legacy carrier LATAM for around $2 billion, according to a breakdown from Reuters. LATAM shortly after announced that it would withdraw from the oneworld alliance. This was a major blow to the oneworld network as it heavily restricted its connectivity in one of the most important and fastest-growing air travel markets. The alliance as a whole has attempted to restore connectivity in a few different ways, but has fallen short of recruiting a full Latin American member airline. Notably, American Airlines has collaborated extensively with JetSmart to improve connectivity to many destinations in Argentina and Chile, and the low-cost carrier has even been able to join the Advantage loyalty network. However, the alliance is still at a considerable disadvantage in comparison to its competitors, and the SkyTeam alliance could completely dominate in the South American market if LATAM fully enters the organization. A last few points considering losing member airlines. The alliance lost Russian carrier S7 due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, while further back in time Aer Lingus withdrew as it was changing its strategy. Air Berlin was lost to bankruptcy, as was Mexicana, while founding member Canadian Airlines was lost due to its merger into Air Canada. The last thing that is important to note is that industry dynamics have played a major role in limiting oneworld's growth, with multiple major carriers struggling or undertaking major efforts that limit expansion potential. American Airlines, for example, is falling behind its competitors in the United States, as Delta Airlines seems to be surging in its popularity and reputation. Nonetheless, the alliance does have a pathway forward that will involve increasing its membership, with two new airlines set to join this year. Furthermore, with the Alaska Airlines acquisition of Hawaiian Airlines and the alliance entry of Fiji Airways, oneworld is set to establish a new foothold in the Pacific market, a position further strengthened by members like Qantas, Cathay Pacific, and American Airlines. What do you think about the oneworld alliance? Let us know by leaving a comment. Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.